God's chosen ones. God is sending you a billionaire's blessing. Don't ignore this. I need you to hear this clearly right now before we go any further. What God is sending toward your life right now is not a small blessing dressed up in big language. It is not a modest improvement wrapped in spiritual hype. What is moving in your direction, if you will receive this message with the seriousness it deserves, is the kind of financial favor that changes not just your generation but the ones that come after you for decades. A billionaire's blessing sent to a chosen one. And you need to decide right now whether you're going to receive it or ignore it. Why you almost scrolled past this message? Let me be honest with you about what just happened inside you when you saw the title of this video. Part of you felt something, a spark, a pull, that familiar, stubborn, unkillable hope that lights up whenever something speaks directly to the thing you've been carrying in secret, the belief that your life is supposed to be bigger than it currently is, that the financial ceiling pressing down on you was never meant to be permanent, that somewhere between the prayers you've prayed and the God you've trusted, something is in motion that your circumstances haven't caught up to yet. That part of you clicked. But then the other part, the part that has been disappointed before, the part that has heard promises and watched them evaporate, the part that has learned to protect itself by lowering its expectations before they can be lowered for it, that part whispered something skeptical, something self-protective, something that sounded reasonable and felt like wisdom but was actually just fear wearing wisdom's clothing. And you almost didn't click, almost scrolled right past the message that was meant to find you today. This is the tension you live in, isn't it? Between the hope that won't die and the self-protection that won't rest. Between the faith that keeps rising and the exhaustion that keeps pulling it back down. Between knowing, really knowing, in the deepest part of you that you were made for more, and the daily reality of a life that doesn't yet reflect that knowing. That tension is not a character flaw. It is not weak faith. It is the natural result of being a person with a large spiritual destiny, living in a season where the physical reality hasn't caught up yet. And today, this video, this moment is part of what closes that gap. Stay open. What comes next is for you. A billionaire's blessing is not about becoming a billionaire. It's about thinking like one. The first thing I need to redefine for you is what a billionaire's blessing actually means. Because if you hear those words and immediately picture a specific dollar amount in an account, you're thinking too small about something that is actually much larger. A billionaire's blessing is not primarily a financial event. It is a mindset transformation that carries financial transformation inside it, like a seed carries a tree. Think about what actually separates billionaires from people with ordinary financial lives. It is not luck. The research is very clear on this. It is not even primarily connections or starting capital, though those can accelerate things. What consistently separates people who build extraordinary wealth from people who don't is the way they think, the size of the problems they're willing to engage with, the timeline they're willing to operate on, the relationship they have with risk, with failure, with the gap between current reality and desired reality. Billionaires think in decades, not months. They solve problems for millions of people, not dozens. They build systems, not just income streams. They see opportunities where others see obstacles, and they see obstacles as temporary and navigable rather than permanent and defining. The billionaire's blessing God is sending you is, first and foremost, a transformation in how your mind processes possibility, an upgrade to the operating system of your thinking that makes you see your life, your gifts, your relationships, your experiences, even your failures as raw materials for something so much larger than what you've been building. When your thinking changes at that level, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your actions change. When your actions change, your results change. And when your results change consistently enough, your bank account catches up to the new level of thinking that God planted in you. The blessing starts in the mind, but it absolutely does not stay there. God sends billionaire-level blessings to people who have survived billionaire-level trials. Here is a truth that is going to reframe everything you've been through if you're willing to let it. The trials that felt like they were destroying you were actually qualifying you. God does not hand extraordinary financial assignments to people with ordinary life experience. He gives them to people who have been forged, tested, pressed, squeezed, pushed past every limit they thought they had, and came out the other side with something that cannot be faked and cannot be taught. The business that failed and took everything with it that was not just a loss. It was a masterclass in what doesn't work, paid for in the currency of real stakes rather than textbook theory. The relationship that ended and left you financially vulnerable that was not just a wound. It was a clarification of your values and your non-negotiables that will protect the wealth you're about to build from being dismantled by the wrong partnership. The season of such profound financial lack that you learned to do with almost nothing that was not just hardship. That was the development of a resourcefulness and a creativity that people born into abundance spend millions trying to develop artificially. Every trial you've survived has deposited something in you. A quality, a skill, a depth of understanding, a resilience that cannot be replicated by any education system or mentorship program or motivational seminar. And God, who wastes absolutely nothing, is about to leverage every single one of those deposits into the foundation of a financial life so solid, so purposeful, so extraordinarily fruitful, that the people who watched you go through the trials will be genuinely stunned by what came out of them. The very magnitude of what you've been through is telling you something about the magnitude of what's coming. Pay attention to that. The reason billionaire-level blessings almost always come through unexpected doors, if you've been watching one specific door, one business, one relationship, one opportunity, and expecting that to be the channel of your major financial breakthrough, I want to gently challenge that expectation. Not because the door you're watching is necessarily wrong, but because God has a pattern observable, consistent, almost signature level, consistent of sending his largest blessings through the door that nobody was guarding. The reason for this is not arbitrary. It is profoundly intentional. When a blessing comes through an obvious expected channel, the human mind can construct a logical pathway from effort to outcome. And when we can construct that pathway, we tend to give the credit to the pathway rather than to the one who built it. The hard work gets the glory. The strategy gets the credit. The hustle gets the praise. But when a blessing arrives through a channel so unexpected, so unlikely, so impossible to have engineered through human effort alone, nobody can take the credit. Nobody can point to the strategy that produced it. The only honest explanation is that God did it. And that irrefutable divine fingerprint on the blessing does something critical. It establishes the right relationship between you and what you've received. You know where it came from. You know who sent it. And that knowing shapes how you hold it, how you use it, and how you remain connected to the source that can send more. Stay open to every door. Give attention to every unexpected conversation, every unusual opportunity, every person who crosses your path in circumstances that feel slightly too coincidental to be purely accidental. Your billionaire-level blessing might be in the conversation you haven't had yet, the introduction that hasn't happened, the idea that hasn't fully formed, the door you haven't even noticed yet. Watch everything, because the blessing is already looking for you, and it knows exactly which door to knock on. What it means to be chosen for this level of financial favor, the word chosen carries weight. And I want to make sure we're understanding it correctly, because chosen does not mean superior. It does not mean more loved than others. It does not mean you've earned something that others haven't. Being chosen for a specific financial assignment means that God, in his sovereign wisdom, determined that your particular combination of gifts, experiences, relationships, and calling makes you the right person to carry a specific level of financial responsibility at this specific moment in history. Think about how God chose people throughout history for significant assignments. He didn't choose the most polished. He didn't choose the most educated or the most pedigreed or the most societally impressive. He chose the shepherd who had learned leadership through years of unglamorous animal care. He chose the person with the speech impediment. He chose the one hiding in fear whom he called a mighty warrior. He chose the teenager with no battlefield experience over the trained soldiers because he saw something in that teenager that had been developed in the private, unwitnessed seasons of a life nobody thought was particularly significant. He chooses on different criteria than we evaluate on. He looks at the full person, including the private struggles, the hidden character, the integrity maintained when no audience was watching, and he determines assignment based on what he sees at that level. And when he looked at you at the full picture, including the parts you're not proud of, and the parts that nobody else has witnessed. He saw someone capable of carrying what he's about to release. That is not arrogance to accept. That is the stewardship of being seen accurately by the one who sees everything. The spiritual homework required before the billionaire blessing. Lance, I want to be a real friend to you right now, which means being honest about something that many prosperity messages skip entirely. A billionaire-level blessing comes with billionaire-level responsibility. And the readiness for that responsibility is not assumed. It is built. And there is specific spiritual homework that the people who sustain extraordinary financial blessings have almost universally done before the blessing fully arrives. Forgiveness work. This is the one most people resist. Because forgiveness is hard, especially when the financial damage someone caused you was real and significant and the wound is still tender. But unforgiveness is one of the most powerful caps on financial destiny that exists. Not because God withholds blessing from unforgiving people as punishment, but because the unforgiving heart is a closed heart, and closed hearts cannot receive at the level an open heart can. Who do you need to forgive? Not for their sake, for yours, for the sake of the blessing that forgiveness makes room for. Identity work. The belief that you are fundamentally not the kind of person who carries significant wealth needs to be examined and replaced with something true. Where did that belief come from? Whose voice does it carry? And is that voice more trustworthy than the voice of the God who chose you for this assignment? Do the work of updating your self-image before the money arrives, because the money alone will not do it for you. Purpose, clarity. What is the financial blessing for? Not just personally, what larger purpose does it serve? The people who sustain billionaire-level blessing have almost universally answered this question at a deep level. Not I want to be comfortable, but I want to fund this specific mission, build this specific legacy, solve this specific problem. Get clear on your answer. It is the engine that sustains the blessing beyond the initial excitement of receiving it. The people God is already positioning. Around your billionaire blessing right now, without your awareness, God is positioning people in and around your life who are connected to the financial breakthrough that is heading your way. Some of them are already in your circle, people you've known for years who are about to occupy a completely different role in your financial story than the role they've played up to now. A friend who is about to introduce you to someone who changes everything. A family member who has information or access, or a connection that they don't even realize is relevant to your next chapter. Some of them haven't entered your life yet. They are in the waiting room of your story, about to be introduced through a circumstance that will look random from the outside, and will be recognized as anything but random by anyone who has paid attention to how God works. And some of them are people you've already met and dismissed too briefly, too distracted, too lost in your own internal noise to notice what they were carrying. These are the ones worth revisiting, the conversation that ended too quickly, the person who reached out and you never fully responded, the connection that was made at a gathering you almost didn't attend. God doesn't waste introductions. Every person he places in your path is placed with intention, even if the purpose of the placement isn't immediately visible. Start paying attention to your relationships with different eyes. Start bringing more presence and more genuine interest to the people crossing your path, because one of them, maybe more than one, is carrying something that belongs to your next chapter. And your attention, your warmth, your authentic engagement might be the thing that unlocks it. Why the billionaire blessing has generosity built into its DNA. Every extraordinary financial blessing that God sends carries a specific instruction embedded in its nature. And that instruction is always some version of the same thing. This is meant to flow, not to pool. The difference between a river and a swamp is not the volume of water. It is whether the water moves. A river constantly flowing, constantly moving, refreshing everything it touches, is one of the most life-giving natural forces on earth. A swamp water collected with no outlet, sitting still, stagnating, produces a completely different kind of environment. Billionaire-level blessing is designed to be a river, not a swamp. And the people who receive it and keep it, who build with it and multiply it and watch it compound across decades, are almost universally people who never stop the flow, who gave generously even before they had much to give, who treated what they received as stewardship rather than ownership, who remained at their core people who were moved by need and responded to it. The generosity doesn't start after the blessing arrives. It starts now with whatever you currently have. A percentage of today's small amount given with genuine faith and genuine love is the practice run for the percentage of tomorrow's large amount that keeps the channel wide open. Give now. Give intentionally. Give in a way that slightly stretches your comfort zone, not recklessly, but faithfully. Because the act of giving from genuine faith, even when what you have feels insufficient, is one of the most powerful signals you can send to heaven, and to your own subconscious that you are a person through whom blessing flows, rather than a person in whom. Blessing stops. A flowing river attracts more water. Be the river. The moment you stop disqualifying yourself is the moment the blessing accelerates. I want to talk to you about an invisible handbrake that many people who are genuinely destined for significant financial blessing unconsciously apply to their own breakthrough. It is the habit of self-disqualification, and it is far more common among the people most deserving of blessing than it is among those less deserving. Self-disqualification sounds like this. But I made so many financial mistakes in my past, God probably needs someone with a cleaner record for this level of blessing. Or, but I don't have the education or the background or the connections that people who receive this kind of favor usually have. Or, but look at how long I've doubted, how many times my faith has wavered, how inconsistent my spiritual life has been. Surely there's someone more qualified. Every one of those thoughts is a handbrake. Every one of them is a reason you've constructed to talk yourself out of a blessing that was never contingent on your perfection in the first place. God does not send billionaire-level blessings to perfect people. There are no perfect people. He sends them to chosen people he has determined can carry the assignment, not because their track record is spotless, but because their heart is oriented in the right direction and their spirit has been shaped by the right process. The past mistakes are not disqualifiers. They are tuition payments for the wisdom that makes you the right steward for what's coming. The wavering faith is not a deal-breaker. It is evidence that you're human and God has been working with humans in all their glorious imperfection since the very beginning. Stop disqualifying yourself. The moment you drop that handbrake, the moment you stop building cases against your own worthiness and start simply receiving the assignment, is the moment the breakthrough that has been held in tension by your own resistance begins to accelerate toward you. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are not too much of a mess. You are chosen, exactly as you are. Right now, what the billionaire blessing is going to require from the new version of you, the financial shift that is coming, is not just something that happens to you. It is something that is going to require active, intentional participation from you. And I want to prepare you for what that participation looks like. It will require you to think bigger than feels comfortable. The opportunities connected to a billionaire-level blessing are not going to feel safe or certain when they arrive. They are going to feel large enough that your first instinct might be to refer them to someone else, to wait until you feel more ready, to talk yourself into the smaller version of the opportunity rather than the full-sized one. Resist that instinct. Think at the level the opportunity is inviting you to, even when it scares you. It will require you to move faster than feels safe. Divine opportunities tend to be time-sensitive, not in a manipulative scarcity tactics way, but in the genuine sense that doors that are open today may not be open in 6 months. When the signal comes, when the door opens, when the nudge arrives, act on it, not recklessly, but decisively. Speed matters more in some seasons than it does in others, and you are approaching a season where decisive action is a critical component of receiving the full blessing. It will require you to build a team. Nobody builds extraordinary financial legacy alone. Part of what the blessing is going to require is your willingness to identify the right people with skills that complement yours, values that align with yours, vision that can handle the size of what you're building and bring them into your inner circle with intention and with trust. Let people carry pieces of the vision. You don't have to hold all of it alone. It will require you to remain yourself. As the money grows, as the platform expands, as the recognition increases, the greatest requirement of all is that you remain the person God chose. The one who remembered what lack felt like, the one who stayed generous, the one who gave credit to the right source, the one who valued people over portfolios, That person, the authentic, grounded, purpose-driven version of you, is the one the blessing was sent to. Don't let success replace that person with a performance. The final confirmation that this message was sent specifically for you, I want to close the development section with something very personal. If you've made it this far into this video, if you've been sitting with these words rather than dismissing them, if something in you has been quietly saying yes to point after point, I want you to consider that your presence here is not coincidental. You found this video, or this video found you, and in the economy of a God who wastes absolutely nothing and orchestrates everything, that finding carries meaning. The fact that you're still watching when you could have stopped, the fact that these words are landing in places inside you that needed to be touched, the fact that the hope that you've been trying to be realistic about keeps rising up in response to what you're hearing, none of that is accidental. Consider this your confirmation, not a blind, empty, feel-good confirmation, a serious, spiritually significant confirmation that you are on the radar of a God who is about to make a move in your financial life so significant that the version of you watching this video will feel like a distant memory to the version of you living on the other side of it. The billionaire's blessing is real. It is moving. It has your name on it. And the only honest question left is this: are you going to receive it with open hands, an open heart, and an open mind? Or are you going to let the skeptical voice win one more time? Choose differently today. The blessing is worth it. Let me bring everything together with something I need you to hear, not just in your mind, but in the place in your chest where the real decisions get made. You were not brought through everything you've survived just to stay where you are. The trials were real. The waiting has been real. The moments of genuine doubt and genuine desperation and genuine wondering whether any of this belief was ever going to produce anything tangible, all of that has been real. And all of it has been witnessed by a God who doesn't look away from the hard parts, who doesn't only show up for the victories, who has been present in every 3 a.m. calculation, every embarrassing financial conversation, every moment of swallowed pride and quiet grief and persistent hope. He was there for all of it, and he has been preparing through all of it the exact person he needs you to be to carry what he's about to send. A billionaire's blessing is not coming to a stranger. It is coming to someone God knows intimately every scar, every doubt, every faithful step taken in the dark without a flashlight. It is coming to someone whose hands have been made open by the discipline of giving when giving was hard, whose heart has been made grateful by seasons of genuine lack, whose mind has been made sharp by the problem-solving required to survive what you've survived. It is coming to you, not the perfect version of you, not the future version who has everything figured out. The you that is sitting here right now, imperfect, tired, still believing, still holding on, still choosing hope over the comfortable numbness of lowered expectations. That you, this you, now. So here is what I'm asking you to do before you close this video. Make a decision. A real one, not a feeling, a decision that you are going to stop self-disqualifying. That you are going to treat the billionaire's blessing as something coming for you, not something reserved for people more worthy than you. That you are going to do the spiritual homework, practice the generosity, stay alert to the unexpected doors, and show up fully for the assignment that God chose you for before you even knew there was a choice being made. Make that decision. Write it down if you need to. Say it out loud if that helps it land. But make it real, and make it today. Because the blessing that is moving toward your life is looking for someone who has decided to receive it. Decide. If this message found you at exactly the right moment, if something in it confirmed what your spirit has been trying to tell you for a while now, please subscribe to this channel right now. Every single week, we come here to speak truth to the chosen ones who are in the middle of their season, the people carrying big assignments in seasons that don't look like it yet. You belong in this community. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share this with one person today. Who needs to hear that a billionaire's blessing is being sent their way too? God bless you. The blessing is already moving. Don't ignore it.